The History of Russian America, Part 1, The Battle of Sitka.
This is how they ended up here.
After the Battle of Old Sitka in 1802, the Tlingit clan house leaders faced a crucial decision that would shape the course of history forever. Some advised caution and diplomacy, while others advocated a bold offensive against Russian settlements. But it was the vision of their revered shaman, Stunukyu, that guided them towards unity and resilience. Led by the courageous war chief Kalyan, the Sitka Tlingit rallied together to construct Shizginu, a fortress symbolizing their unity and determination. For the Russians, the loss of Old Sitka meant a severe blow to their power in southeast Alaska. Alexander Baranov sought vengeance, leading a formidable force to reclaim their foothold.
As the Russians launched their assault on the Tlingit fortress, a fierce battle ensued, testing the resilience and bravery of both sides. Although the Tlingit emerged victorious in the initial confrontation, the struggle was far from over as they faced challenges in sustaining their resistance.
And for my Native American brethren, my Navajo brethren, I should say, to be more specific, especially in Shie, Ashizje, especially in Shie, Ashizje, especially in Shie, Ashizje. If you know what that is, you give yourself a pat on the back because you're part of the Navajo crowd. All right. If you know what that is, you give yourself a pat on the back.
We know what club it is.
You're part of the Navajo crowd. All right. So for the Navajos, another 3 years of crop failures. For the Navajos, another 3 years of crop failures.
These are exported from the United States because of the rebellions and the revolts and sold into the Caribbean, where they practically disappear in some of the places that they were expelled to.
I attended school until 4th grade, the public school there, and discovered, well, I can't even say discovered, but it was about when I was 10 years old that I realized that I could not stay in that community. The hostility, the ignorance, the animosity that was there in that community against anyone who was not a white swamp Yankee was just too much. And when I went to college, I met a lot of other Native people from across the country, and some of them have become, my very, very close friends. And I enjoyed that because I learned more about other Native people and other cultures.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for bringing the Indian. Tell me what. Thanks for bringing the Indian. Thanks for bringing the Indian. Tell me what you know about this.
I brought it in for a friend of mine. The story goes that it was first in a grocery store in Springfield, Kentucky, called McCoy and Shade's Grocery.
Okay.
And I guess maybe advertising tobacco.
Okay.
And then years later, it was in the Majestic Theater in Springfield. And,
Springfield, Kentucky.
Springfield, Kentucky. And
their recent legal victories in the Rhode Island courtrooms, the Narragansett have become an increasingly important political presence in their traditional homeland.
I've found since coming to Rhode Island, becoming state archaeologist in 1982, that the strongest advocate for the preservation of archaeological sites dealing with Native American history is the Narragansett Indian tribe. Some people, non-Indians in particular, tend to think of archaeological sites dealing with Native Americans as sort of curiosities, things that are interesting but maybe not really important, things that are frivolous to study, things that are on the periphery of real history, or white man's history. But in working with tribal members, what it does is instill a real strong importance into these things. This office is housed in the what used to be the Colony House, and then when Rhode Island became a state after the Revolutionary War, it became one of the state houses in Rhode Island. And in 1880, the General Assembly met here to formally detribalize the Narragansett Indian tribe. The federal government has since determined, prodded by a lawsuit from the Narragansetts, that was an illegal act. And tribal status was conferred on the Narragansetts formally by the federal government in 1983. And it is somewhat ironic that a group of us, the Historical Preservation Commission,
The Interior Department announced the extinguishment of all past Narragansett Indian claims in the state following a landmark settlement. Under the Rhode Island Indian Claims Settlement Act. In an agreement decades in the making, the Narragansett Indians will receive 1,800 acres of land in Charlestown, Rhode Island. This settlement is a result of tireless negotiations among the Narragansett leaders, the Rhode Island state government, private landowners, and the Town Council of Charlestown. Signed into law by President Jimmy Carter on September 30th, 1978, the act put into motion an unprecedented resolution. Secretary of the Interior Cecil Andrus praised the collaboration, saying, quote, "The parties to this settlement are to be congratulated. Through their patience, leadership, and commitment, they have achieved something which has so far escaped other Eastern Seaboard states." The settlement resolves a legal dispute that began in 1975 when the Narragansett tribe filed suit for 3,200 acres of land in Charlestown. The tribe argued that the land had been taken in violation of the Trade and Intercourse Act of 1790. The Trade and Intercourse Act of 1790 is a federal law requiring that any conveyance of Indian land be approved by the federal government. Under the settlement, an Indian-controlled corporation will oversee 1,800 acres of land minus 900 acres transferred from the state, and another 900 acres purchased with $3.5 million in federal funds.
Right.
In exchange, the tribe has agreed to relinquish all land claims within Rhode Island. The key to this agreement was the Rhode Island General Assembly's passage of enabling legislation, signed by Governor J. Joseph Gary on May 10, 1978. This legislation authorized the land transfers and created the corporation to manage the settlement. The Narragansett Indian Claims Settlement Act stands as a testament to the power of genealogy, trust law, the power of estoppel to make the government adhere to their contracts, and networking with your broad family tribal members to handle business.